press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello everyone. So I hope you all are fit and fine. In the last class we discussed about the two concepts of surface chemistry, that is about adsorption, and then one more is catalysis. Finally, let us move on to the last concept of this chapter, that is nothing but colloids. What is the last concept? That is nothing but colloids. So the process which are take place inside these colloids is also the surface phenomenon. That's why we are reading this concept also in case of this chapter, that is nothing but surface chemistry, right? So let me explain this concept with the help of a simple experiment. Suppose we are having 3 beakers. So in the first one I have taken just the water. It is a combination of water and sugar, okay, dissolution of sugar in water. Then so in the second beaker, what I am going to take, say NaCl plus water, NaCl plus water, that is in excess. NaCl should be in excess, okay. Yes, one more beaker I am going to take, so that consists of the water and the sand, water and the sand. You make out the difference. So these are nothing but the water molecules, what I have represented in the form of dark points. They are nothing but the sand plus water, sand plus water. So what observation you can draw from these? So you can see that in case of the first one, there will be no solute particles. The solute particles will not visible. They will form into a homogeneous mixture, uniformly distributed in the solvent, that is nothing but the water, right? And in the last one, if you observe, it is a heterogeneous mixture. You can clearly see the particles with your naked eyes. That is the sand particles settle at the bottom, and then in the third or in the second beaker, if you observe, so there will be some, what we can say, white colorness, milky color you are going to see if you take NaCl in excess concentration, right? So you can see that there is it is not so clear, it is not so clear, just there will be a turbidity in case of this one. It is not clear, you are going to see a turbidity, just like if you add a drop of milk into the water, you cannot see it. So drop means 1 or 2 drops if you add to that one. So just if you add 1 drop water, you cannot see that one. That may be just like your water and sugar. But if you add same amount of water, means little bit larger amount of water, if you add to, that is milk you add to the water, you are going to say some kind of whiteness. That is nothing but what you call that one as turbidity, right? Like that you are going to see in case of what? The middle one, that is NaCl plus water. So you can say we classify these 3 as, so here we can say the first one as they are nothing but the true solutions. What we call for these type of mixtures, they are called as true solutions. They are nothing but homogeneous in nature. For the second one, we are going to call them as colloids. What we call them as colloids. And the third one, if you take, so they are called as suspensions. We call the third category as suspensions, right? So you already studied about this true solution, that is a physical chemistry concept, that is about solutions. And then now we are going to study about colloids, and suspension you are going to learn in higher class, or why it is not so well defined here. Okay, so here, so is it clear? So what are true solutions? The homogeneous mixture where the size of the particles is lesser than 1 nanometer. Why we are not going to see the solute particles in these true solutions? Because the size of the particle is very, very less. How much that is? Less than 1 nanometer. So if you come to this one, the size of the particles is greater than 1000 nanometer. Greater than 1000 nanometer. That's why you can clearly see the particles with your naked eyes itself. So, but if you take the middle one, you cannot see the particles, but if you take that solution and if you observe in the ultra microscope, you are going to see the particles. Right? So that is nothing but why? Because their size ranges between that of the true solutions and the what we call as suspension. So as I said, I think you understood. I will rub this one. So now I am going to explain these two solutions, colloids and suspension, by writing the differences. Thereby you can understand the properties as well as the differences together. So if you take the first one, so size, if you take the property size, if you take, it is less than 1 nanometer. The size of the particles is less than 1 nanometer, or if you write in terms of meters, it is 10 power minus 9 meter. 10 power minus 9 meter. Nano means that is nothing but 10 power minus 9. So if the size of the particles is less than 1 nanometer, so what we call for such solutions, those solutions are called as true solutions, as the solute has been uniformly distributed throughout the solution. They are nothing but the homogeneous in nature. So if you write the size of these colloids, so what is the size of these colloids? So it is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. 1000 nanometer, that is nothing but 10 power minus 9 to 10 power minus 6 meter. So this is the range of size of particles of colloids. Yes, so the third one if you take, so it is greater than 1000 nanometer, that means to say greater than 10 power minus 6 meter. So this is the first difference, or you can say first property, where we can say the size of true solutions and colloids as well as the suspensions. Right. So the second point if you take, as I already said, so it is homogeneous in nature. If you look at the nature of the solution, homogeneous in nature. Right. So if you take the second one, it is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous. Right. Heterogeneous in nature. Then the third one if you take, so it is also, yes, what we can say, heterogeneous in nature. So this is the second difference what we can make out between the two solutions, colloids and the suspensions. I think you are getting this one. Solute particles are uniformly distributed, not uniformly distributed, not uniformly distributed. That's why we say these two as what? Heterogeneous. Here we are going to get a clear solution, turbid solution. Totally solute and solvent are different, separated from one another. That's why they are called as what? Suspension. Then if you want, so the filtration property if you take, it can pass through, it means here the solute particles. It can pass through filter paper, right? So if you take this one, the particles can pass through, the particles of colloidal solution can pass through both, filter paper and animal membrane, or you can take that one as parchment paper. Any animal membrane, that is nothing but semi-permeable membrane, right? It is very important in your biology, right? Semi-permeable membrane, that is animal membrane is semi-permeable. So our colloidal particles, they can pass either through the filter paper or through the what? That is nothing but the animal membrane. So okay, so next difference if you here if you write, so sorry, it is 2, it is 3, right? So it cannot pass, or you can say the particles of suspension, the particles cannot pass either through filter paper, yes, filter paper, or through are through animal membrane, are through animal membrane. This is the next difference what we can give between the colloids, true solutions and the suspensions. As their size is more, as their size is larger, we can say that so they cannot pass through the animal membrane or through the filter paper. Okay, so next point, that is nothing but, so I think you understood all these, so just I will write here itself. The next one, the next difference what we can see here, yes, that is their visibility. Cannot be visible, cannot be, okay, visible, particles cannot be visible through ultra microscope. So they are very small in size, they completely mixed with the solution and they are very small because their size is lesser than 1 nanometer. We cannot see even in case of the ultra microscope. But if you take this one, can be seen, particles can be seen through, yes, ultra microscope. This is the next difference what we can quote, but here you can say they are visible. What is the meaning of visible? Visible with naked eyes. If you just see naked eyes, if you see the sand in water, you can see with your naked eyes only. Sand will be settled at the bottom of that solution. That is nothing but the suspension. And then one more difference you can quote here. What is that? So they don't show, do not show Tyndall effect. This is very important. Later on we are going to discuss in the properties of colloids, Tyndall effect, right? So here it shows Tyndall effect, okay. So and then show Tyndall effect, sorry, this is Tyndall effect if the size of the particle, if the size of the particles is reduced, if it is decreased, then we can see the Tyndall effect in case of suspension also. And one more property is there, that is nothing but what we called as Brownian movement. Brownian, that is also a name of a scientist. Brownian movement cannot be shown by the particles of this true solution. So shows Brownian movement. Likewise, it also shows Brownian movement if the particle size is decreased to the colloidal size. Right. So these are some of the differences what we can see between the colloids, true solutions and the suspensions. Okay. So next in this chapter we are going to study in detail only about the colloids. You already discussed about the true solutions and suspension is not there here. So that's why. So we are going to learn about the colloids. So now you already understood what are colloids, right? Just I will give a bookish definition for that one. The homogeneous. What are colloids? Yes, they are heterogeneous. The heterogeneous system in which particles of one substance One substance, we call that one as a dispersed phase. I am going to discuss next, in which particles of one substance are dispersed in the solution of solution means here dispersion medium, in the solution of another substance. So they are called as what? They are called as colloids. They are heterogeneous in nature, where particles of one substance are what? Dispersed. They are present inside the solution of another substance, right? So that is, or you can simply say the heterogeneous solutions in which the size of the particle is in the range of 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. That also you can write. So that is the heterogeneous mixtures in which, there is one more definition, in which size of particles is between 1 nanometer to, yes, 1000 nanometer. So those are called as what? Colloids. And then they are nothing but just like our solution. Solution consists of what? Solvent and the solute. Likewise, the colloids consist of two components. So what are those two components of colloids? Components, yes, of colloids. So that also you should understood here, because we are going to repeatedly use those two terms. So one is called as dispersed phase. What you call for that one? Dispersed phase, or we can call that dispersed phase as discontinuous phase also. It is also called as discontinuous phase. Right? In short, we represent this one as dP. Therefore, whenever I use dP, you should understand it is nothing but the dispersed phase. Right? So what is the dispersed phase? The discontinuous phase of colloids. The discontinuous phase of colloids. Are you getting? The discontinuous phase of colloidal particles in colloidal solutions or colloidal systems is called dispersed phase. That means I have taken, in that beaker I have taken NaCl in water, right? NaCl is nothing but the dispersed phase. That is, in case of this solution means this is nothing but a solute. It is just like our solute in the solution. Dispersed phase means they are the particles, colloidal particles, right? They are discontinuous in nature. They are discontinuously distributed in that, dispersed in that, right? So likewise, you are having, so if you want, you can give the examples, or let us move on to the next component, that is nothing but the dispersion medium. What is the next one? Dispersion medium, right? This is also called as continuous phase. In short, it is represented as dm. Yes, what we represent that one as dm. Whenever I write dm, you should understand it is dispersion medium in case of colloids, and dp means dispersed phase in case of colloids. So what are these? The continuous medium. In which in which colloidal particles, what are those colloidal particles? Yes, they are dispersion phase. Colloidal particles are dispersed, okay. So it is just like our, what we can say, solvent. It is just like solvent in case of solution, that is a water which is present in NaCl solution. It is nothing but our dispersion medium, right? So just these are the two components of a colloid. Whatever it may be the colloid, it has two components. So one is the dispersion medium and one is called as the dispersion phase. This dispersion phase is dispersed in case of the dispersion medium. It is dispersed in case of the dispersion medium. Together they will constitute a colloid. Right? So milk is a colloid. Right? So milk proteins are there, liquid part is also there. So that together constitute the milk is nothing but a colloid. Or else you can have the syrups. They are used for your medicinal purposes, cough syrups, okay, like that. There are so many types, or you can say the acidity syrups like Digene and all. So they are also example for colloid. They are having the dispersed phase as well as the dispersion medium. Right? What type of colloid that is, we are going to discuss later on. So if you take your that is nothing but the water what we are going to get, or you can say whenever this rice and water are boiled, right, while cooking the rice, so you are going to get some liquid, and if you collect that liquid and keep it for some time, you are going to say that will become like what we can say, that will be sticky in nature. I think you call in Kannada as ganji, like that, right? That starch is also an example for colloid, where there is a dispersed phase as well as the dispersion medium, right? So that is all about the components of colloid. Very important, this is dispersed phase and dispersion medium. So it is the continuous medium in which the dispersed phase is present. What is dispersed phase? The particles of colloids which are present in case of the dispersion medium are called as the dispersed phase. Whatever it may be the colloid, these two will be there. Okay, so next let us move on to the next concept, that is nothing but the classification of these colloids. Classification of colloids. Okay, classification of colloids. So here if you take the classification of colloids, the colloids are classified in various ways. In many different ways they are classified. Colloids are classified in various ways, or you can say different ways, right? So that may be based on the size of the colloidal particles, or based on the type of dispersion phase and dispersion medium. And one more is there, type of interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. Three types we are going to see in the classification, or three ways of classification of colloids we are going to see. Okay, so let us take up the first one. So that is, I will write here itself, based on the type of dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Based on the type of dispersion phase and dispersion medium, the colloids has been classified into 8 types. How many types of colloids are there? 8 types. It's very easy to remember also. I am going to give that one. So that what is there in the textbook, that I copied the same. So just first you write dispersed phase, in the next column dispersion medium, DM, dispersion medium, right? So what is the name of that colloid, and then what are the examples we can quote for that particular colloid, right? So the first one what we are going to see is nothing but, so if the dispersed phase is solid, dispersion medium is also solid, so we call such type of sol. So see here, colloids are also called as sols, S-O-L-S, sols. Okay, both are same, collide or sol. Okay, whenever I use sol, that you should understand that is nothing but the collide only. So what we call for such type of collide? Solid, solid, solid sol. What do you call for that one? That is called as a solid sol, where we can see that the dispersion phase as well as the dispersion medium both are in the solid state. Okay, so you can give the example of colored glasses and gems that you are going to use in case of jewelry makings. No, gems, different colors you are going to select depending upon your stars and all, right? And then colored glasses you are going to use ruby is there. Okay, different colored glasses are there. So they are usually used in case of decorative purposes as well as in case of the jewelries, in making jewelries. So they are having a, see, if you observe ruby, so that is nothing but a glass, right? Inside that there is a color. So that is nothing but your dispersed phase. So dispersed phase as well as the dispersion medium both are present in case of solid state. That's why that type of sols are called as what? Solid sols. Okay. So next, if you move on to the second one, so if it is dispersion phase is a solid and dispersion medium is liquid. Dispersion medium is liquid. So we call that as just solid solid liquid. What you call that one as? Solid sol. Okay, so I can give the example of paints. So that is suitable solvent will be there, in that particular dye will be there. Dye will become what? Dispersion phase, and that solvent will become what? Dispersion medium. So it is an example for what type of collide? It is an example for sol, right? So and then you can have the example of cell fluids. Cell fluids, you are having what you call for that one? Cytoplasm. In that you are going to see the jelly like substance, right? Jelly like substance are, that means what we can say, it will be sticky in nature, right? If you are a biology student, so you know that whenever you do dissections and all, when you open an organism, so the particles, or you can say the things or organelles which are present inside that, they will be sticky in nature. And if you are a non-vegetarian, you will understand well what is the meaning of that. So if you see the organs of different, so they will slip from our hands. So why? Because a freshly cut thing means you can see that one, or you can see in case of vegetables and all, that will be sticky in nature. Because the cell fluids are usually what? They are nothing but the colloids. What type of colloids they are? They are nothing but the sols. What is there? So the dispersion phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid, right? That's why it is sol. Solid, 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 sol, sol. That is solid and liquid, it is nothing but a sol. Likewise, you are having dispersion phase is a solid and the dispersion medium is a gas. Dispersion medium is gas. We call that one as aerosol. Remember this one? Aerosol, right? So solid dispersion phase, see here, solid in gas, we are going to read that one as. So in the beginning itself I told about the adsorption process. So solid gas interface, solid liquid interface, solid solid interface, like that. So that is how to read this one: solid in solid, solid in liquid, solid in gas. It is present in larger quantity, it will present in smaller quantities, right? It is aerosol. Okay, so what are the example for this one? You can have the example of smoke. So smoke, or you can have the example of this one. What is that? Haze. In the morning during winter season, you can see that haze, right? Also you can have the example of dust. Whenever you dust the things and all, you are going to see the dust particles, no? So they are also what? Example for the colloids. Smoke that is released from the industries, or that may be released from the smoking. So what the smoke you are going to get? So that has two things. So that is solid particles will be dispersed in case of the gas. Are you getting the concept? So that what you call for such type of colloids, they are called as the aerosol. Very simple, it is solid and gas, aerosol. Example, smoke. So 1 marks questions you are going to get out of this one. If they give the particular example and they will tell you to identify the type of colloid, you have to write this one. Or identify the dispersion medium and dispersion phase, like that. So you have to say dispersion medium is gas, dispersion phase is the solid, like that. Okay now. So now if you move on to the next one, this is over, solid is over. After solid I will write liquid. If dispersion phase is liquid, and now I will come in an order. This is here solid, liquid, gas. Totally this is solid, liquid, gas. Likewise here liquid means solid. Liquid, solid. Dispersion phase is liquid and dispersion medium is solid, means we call such type of colloids as gels. So what do we call for such type of colloids? They are called as the gels. Are you getting the concept? You know about gels. So you see the jellies, jams and jellies, your favorites, right? So jams and jellies are example for that one. As well as you can have the example of cheese. You can have the example of butter. I will write here itself. You are having the example of butter. All these are example for what? Liquid in solid. Liquid in solid. So which is present in larger quantity here? Solid. You can see the ghee or the butter, right? So lesser amount of liquid will be there. In that you are going to see this one. Okay. So that is the thing. Gel. If you take the jellies and if you add into water and mix it properly and keep it in the freezer, they will get solidified, right? So like that. So that is, or you are going to see this one, what that is nothing but marbles, like bubbles, like you are going to get in the market, and if you add into the water they will swell up. Solid particle will be more and the liquid particle will be very less. That means to say that type of colloids are called as what? Liquid, solid, or we call that one as gel. This is very important. Example are jellies, cheese and butter. Right. So one more example. So liquid, again liquid is the dispersed phase and liquid is the dispersion medium. Liquid. So what we call that one as? They are very important here. We are going to learn in detail about these. They are called as emulsions. What we call for them as? Emulsions. What are emulsions? So the colloids. What are emulsions? If you get the question. The colloidal solutions in which the dispersion phase as well as the dispersion medium both are what? Liquids. Such type of colloidal solutions are called as what? Emulsions. So we can give the example for these emulsions as your what is that? Milk. Milk is an example for emulsion. Then we are having the example of hair creams, that what we are going to apply to the hairs. Hair dyes are there? No. Hair creams. And then you can have the example of syrup also, that what we are going to take during the fever or during the cough. What are all the syrups you are going to take? All those syrups are nothing but the example for what? Emulsions. So where we can see that the dispersion phase as well as the dispersion medium both are nothing but liquid. So remember, liquid, emulsion, right? Liquid, solid, gel. Solid, gas, aerosol. Like that you have to remember, right? So one more. So liquid. Okay, one more. Liquid, and if it is a gas, dispersion medium is a gas, we call again that one as aerosol. That is called as aerosol, just like this one. Where is that? Solid, gas. So dispersion medium is a gas, means you can call that one as a aerosol. Okay. So for this I will give the example of what is that? Mist. You can give the example of mist. Okay. So or you can have the example of fog. You can have the example of clouds, or you can have the example of insecticide sprays. Insecticide sprays, what you are going to spray, or perfumes, what you are going to apply. No, they are also example for aerosol, where the dispersion medium is gas, dispersion phase is a liquid. Okay, so I think you are understanding this one. Look at the examples: mist, fog, cloud, insecticide and sprays are the examples for what? Aerosol. And what is the dispersion medium here? Gas. What is the dispersion phase? Liquid. Okay, so then if you move on to the next one, so liquid, liquid, liquid is over, solid, liquid, gas is over. Then we are having gas. Okay, so here it is solid, gas and solid. So it is called as solid soul. Just like this one, it is also a solid soul. So you can have the example of pumice stone, pumice stone. As well as you can have the example of foam, foam rubber, foam rubber. So I will explain this one. Pumice stone means what you are going to get in the market, that will be hard, that will be porous in nature, that we are going to rub the foods. Cracked foods will be there, no, feet will be there, heels and all. So cracked, they will be what? They will be rough, or they will become smooth by applying this pumice stone, right? Which is having a rough surface and porous in nature, that we are going to rub the feet. So that pumice stone is an example for what? Gas solid. As the porous in nature means because the disperse phase is gas, dispersion medium is a solid. And one more example, foam rubber. So you are going to see in the matrices, yes, matrices, if they are cut, no, you are going to tease them again, and inside them what we are going to see though, that is nothing but what? Foam rubber. Okay, so that is, and the last one what we are having is nothing but, if the dispersion phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid, dispersion medium is liquid, we call such type of colloids as foam, and the example for this one is nothing but your froth. Example for this type of colloid is nothing but the froth, and soap lather, and one more is there, that is nothing but the wiped creams. So better remember the first two, that is very easy to remember, froth and soap lather. Froth, you know the meaning of that froth? Froth flotation. You come across froth flotation, where you are going to concentrate the sulfide ore by adding the pine oil. So then when we are going to agitate the mixture, what the froth you are going to get at the top. So that froth is having what? The disperse phase as gas, dispersion medium as liquid. That's why you are going to see in the form of a bubbles. So you know about majge kadiyad gotidiyala. So in that you can see that when they are buttermilk you are going to meet, you are going to see that as what? Froth at the top, that can be easily skimmed out, right? That froth is an example for gas and liquid. Okay, gas, liquid. See, just go through this one: solid, solid, solid soul, solid, liquid soul, solid gas, aerosol, liquid, solid gel, liquid, liquid emulsion, liquid gas, aerosol. Again, gas, solid, solid soul, gas, liquid, foam. How many types are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you are, I think you are getting some question here. See, for this solid 3 pairs, that is I have written, liquid, gas, only 2, right? Again it is very easy to remember, solid, liquid, gas, solid, liquid, gas, solid, liquid. There is no gas, gas. Why it is? That is the next concept. So that is one more important concept here. There will be no colloid which is having both dispersion medium and dispersion phase as gas. Okay, there will be no colloids like this. Why? Because gas with gas will form what? A homogeneous mixture, and you know that colloids are not homogeneous, they are heterogeneous mixture. What are colloids? Colloids are heterogeneous mixture, but what a gas and a gas will form? It will form a homogeneous mixture. That's why there will be no colloid where both the dispersion phase as well as the dispersion medium both are what? Both are nothing but the gaseous states. Why? Because the gases will form a homogeneous mixture. Understood the concept? So very important this is. So it is there in the textbook, just go through that, and it is very easy to recall the concept also. Just you should know that these examples for this. That is also very important, right? And here solid liquid, solid gas, aerosol, liquid solid, gel. What are gels if they ask? So the colloidal solution where the dispersion phase is liquid and dispersion medium is solid, such type of colloidal solutions are called as gels. What are emulsions? The colloids in which both dispersion phase as well as dispersion medium are what? Liquids. One of the best example you can have milk. Many times the question has been asked. Milk is an example for emulsions. Paint is an example for salt, right? So jellies are example for gels. Like that also you had to go through the concept. I think you understood the classification of colloids based on the type of dispersion phase and dispersion medium. And one more important point I told here, that is there is no colloids where both the dispersion medium and dispersion phase both are what? Both are in the gaseous states, because they will form what? Homogeneous mixture. And one more point you can have here, if the dispersion phase, medium, not phase, if the dispersion medium is water, DM that is, if the dispersion medium is water, then it is called what? Aquasol, or that is also called as hydrosol. Aquasol, or that is also called as hydrosol, right? Likewise, if it is alcohol, if the dispersion medium is alcohol, then the colloid or then the sol is called, what do you call for that one? Alkosol. So depending upon the medium, that is not for all, and generally you are going to consider if it is water, it is liquid. If it is alcohol, it is also liquid only, dispersion medium. But specific terminologies they have given for this water as hydrosol, and alcohol, if the medium is, it is called as the alkosol. Okay. So next, if you move on to the next second type of classification, that is based on the type of interaction, okay, interaction between, based on the type of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium. The colloids are classified into two types. The first one is called as lyophilic colloid, and the second one is called as the lyophobic colloids. Are sols. You can use the terms lyophobic sols, lyophilic sols. So here, on what basis? Based on the what type of interaction between the dispersed phase and dispersion medium, right? So here meaning of the term lyo means, so that is nothing but solvent, okay. Philic means loving, solvent loving, okay. So if you take this one lyophobic, right, lyo means again solvent, right, phobic, see here, lyophobic means hating, solvent loving, solvent hating, right. So here there is a great affinity, between yes, dispersion phase and dispersion medium, okay. So no affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. There will be no affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. That's why it is phobic. You know about hydrophobia, water hating. Whenever the dog bites, you are going to see one of the symptoms as hydrophobia, right? So water hating, phobia means hating. Okay, so now like that. So here there is a great affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium, no affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Okay, so likewise we can have the example. So we can have the not example, second point, these are reversible. These are reversible in nature. These are reversible. These are irreversible. What is the meaning of this? Irreversible. Okay. So whenever dispersion phase is mixed with the dispersion medium, you are going to get a colloid, that is nothing but the lyophilic colloids. Okay. So and then I will explain. Let me write one more point. They are prepared by simple methods. Just by mixing the disperse phase with the dispersion medium, you are going to get a colloid. That much easy it is. Just if you take a gel and add to water, you are going to get a this one. Protein solution, you are going to get protein plus water, you are going to get a that colloid, particular colloid. Starch plus water, you are going to get a colloid. That much easy. Dispersion phase, dispersion medium. That is simple. Okay, so that's why when you separate the dispersion phase with the dispersion medium, you are going to get back that separate dispersion phase and dispersion medium. There will be no colloid. That's why they are reversible in nature. We can easily separate dispersion phase from the dispersion medium. Likewise, but if you take this one, so what they are prepared prepared by specific chemical methods. Okay, once they are prepared, we cannot separate the dispersion phase from the dispersion medium. That's why these are what? These are irreversible in nature. Okay, now that is the next point. So next you can have, these are stable. These are highly stable. So these are unstable. These are highly unstable. Okay, so in the differences, if you write this much, that is enough. Stable, unstable. Very important difference. This is, we come across two differences now. So one is nothing but the first one, physisorption and chemisorption. One more between lyophilic and lyophobic. So many times it has been asked in the board exams for 3 marks. Any 3 more points. See, from the definition you are going to get 1 point. Great affinity between the dispersion phase and dispersion medium. No affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Reversible, irreversible. Then stable, unstable. Okay. So why they are stable? Because if small amount of electrolyte is not enough to coagulate. What is the meaning of this coagulate? So to precipitate. You know that one, coagulate or precipitate. So you know when a curdling of milk, you know. So when we add a lemon juice to that milk, it will be get precipitated, right? So that precipitation, or we can call that one as the coagulation. So it will not happen in case of which one? The lyophilic colloids. They are stable. That's why small amount of electrolyte will not cause coagulation. Okay. So but if you take this one, they are highly unstable. Small amount of electrolyte is enough. Small amount of electrolyte is enough to cause the precipitation. Or you can say that one as the coagulation. Very small amount of the electrolyte is enough to cause the precipitation, or the you can say that one as coagulation. So let understood this one. So very simple. Affinity towards dispersion phase and dispersion medium, no affinity, reversible, irreversible, simple mixing, prepared by chemical methods, stable, unstable. Small amount of electrolyte will not cause any precipitation, that's why they are stable. Highly unstable just not only by adding small amount of electrolyte. If you heat or if you just mix them, no, then also that will also lead to the precipitation. Mechanical shaking also will cause the precipitation. That much unstable these are. Okay. So now one more thing is there. One more thing, or you can say one more difference we can quote here between lyophilic and lyophobic colloids. So what is that? These are charged. These are charged. These are not charged. Sorry, these are not charged. These are not charged. Okay, these are not charged. And if you take that one, that is nothing but lyophobic colloids. So these are charged. These are what? Charged. That we are going to learn again. Next, charge of these colloids. Okay, these are charged and these are not charged. These are charged. Okay, and then the particles are not easily. The particles are not easily seen in microscope because they are completely attracted towards the dispersion phase, no, great affinity. That's why you cannot see the dispersion phase particle in the microscope. Okay, but these are easily detected. These are easily detected in the microscope. Easily detected in the microscope. There is a one more difference we can write here, and then we can have that is there will be no Tyndall effect. This is again important. No Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect. Show Tyndall effects. Show Tyndall effect. Show Tyndall effect. Okay, show Tyndall effect because the particles are just like the particles little bit bigger in size. That's why they are not showing the Tyndall effect. But if you take this one, the particles are a little bit smaller in size. That's why they will show the what? Tyndall effect. So these are the some of the differences what we can quote between the lyophilic and lyophobic. So I think I have not given the examples, right? This is not a difference. You should note down that is a examples. That's it. Okay. You can have this one example for this lyophilic example. Gelatin. Remember, examples are not the differences. Gelatin. Okay. Proteins. Starch, okay, and again your jellies are the examples, and then you can have this one, what is that, rubber gum, okay. Likewise you can have the hormones like insulin. All are example for what? Your lyophilic. Gelatin, protein, or albumin also you can write. Egg albumin is there, no? That will be jelly like, right? That is also an example for what? Our lyophilic colloids. Starch, jellies, rubber gums, and then insulin is also an example for lyophilic. Then if you want to the example for lyophobic, just I will write here for these lyophobic colloids. So that is your ferric hydroxide sol, gold sol, okay, sulfur sol, that is that mainly consists of S8 molecules, etc. Or you can say your metal sols. Generally we can write all are example for what? Your lyophobic sols. So which are having no affinity towards the dispersion phase. Okay. So finally we are having one more classification. Let me complete here in this class itself. Yes, I am repeating. So this is very important for your board exams. Very simple to remember. First one, affinity between dispersion phase and dispersion medium. Second one, that is no affinity in case of lyophobic, and then reversible, irreversible, stable, unstable. Do not show Tyndall effect, show Tyndall effect. Enough. Only for 3 marks, 3 points, 3 marks you are going to get. Okay. Yes. Next one, based on. Next classification is based on is the type of particles in the colloidal solution. Based on the type of the particles, based on the types of particles, based on the types of particles of dispersed phase. They are classified into 3 categories. One is macro, so first micromolecular colloids. What is the first one? Micromolecular colloids. Let me discuss together. Then I am going to write the second one, micromolecular colloids. So let me give the definition for this one. The colloids, micromolecular colloids, the colloids in which large number of, see look at this one, large number of small particles, whose size may be less than 1 nanometer. Large number of small particles aggregate, that means to say associate, or they will form clusters or group together, right? Aggregate to form the particles of the colloidal range, So they are very small, they are smaller than the colloidal particles, but when they aggregate, when they associate with each other, they will form the particles which are having the range of colloidal particles. Such types of colloids are called as what? Multimolecular, yes, multimolecular colloids, or you can say that one as micromolecular colloids also. Multimolecular, many small colloidal particles associate to form the colloidal particle range, that is less than 1 nanometer is there, no? They will form the particles of the size. Colloidal range means what is the colloidal range? Between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. So that much size they are going to get. That type of particles are called as what? That is multimolecular colloids. Okay na? So I can give the example for this one, or you can say the colloidal particles are held together by weak van der Waals forces. Are you getting the concept? They are held together by means of weak van der Waals forces. And then you can have, these are lyophobic in nature. Example you can quote for this one, gold sol, or you can have sulfur sol, where many S8 molecules, many S8 molecules will aggregate together to form the multimolecular colloids. Or you can say the gold sol, fine gold particles will associate with one another, they will form the gold sol. When you heat the gold, you are going to get that gold sol, right? So that is about the micromolecular colloids or multimolecular colloids. Very simple. The colloids in which large number of small particles whose size is lesser than 1 nanometer aggregate to form the particles of the colloidal range, right? So they are held together by means of what forces? Van der Waals forces of attraction, and then they are lyophobic in nature. lyophobic in nature, right? And likewise we can give the example for that what multimolecular colloids. So if you move on to the next one, so that is the second one, second category. So that is macromolecular colloids. Macromolecular colloids. So same way, so but here, so the same definition, see here, the colloids in which large number of large or you can say big particles. Here it is small, no, big particles whose size is greater than 1 nanometer, or you can say greater than 1 nanometer. That type of particles aggregate to form particles of colloidal range. So such colloidal solutions are called as what? Macromolecular. Macro means big. Here there is association or aggregation of big particles. Large amount they are, that's why they are macromolecular colloids. Okay, so these are lyophilic in nature. Lyophilic in nature with large masses. They possess large masses because they are big in size, no? Their mass will be more. So for this we can give the example for this as starch. So what are the example you have given for lyophilic? No, same example you can give for what? Macromolecular. What are the example you have given for lyophobic? That you give the example for your micromolecular or multimolecular. It is very easy because this is lyophilic starch, gelatin, right? Cellulose. Likewise, you can have the example of enzymes. Yes, enzymes are also example for colloids, or you can have the examples of your proteins. So generally, so all are example for what? Macromolecular colloid. I hope you understood this one. So that is micromolecular colloids and macromolecular colloids. Okay. So after a short break, I will continue with the concept of the third category, that is nothing but the what is this? Associative colloids, or you can say that one as associated colloid, or you can say that one as micellis. Okay. Just after a short break, I will continue the concept. Thank you.